Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Your support means the world to us and helps others discover stories that share clarity and inspiration on the path of self-discovery. Thank you so much. Let's begin.
Chapter 1. Why you became so convenient. When was the last time you stopped and honestly asked yourself, why am I doing this? Why not something else? When was the last time you made a choice, not because you were supposed to, but because you wanted to? From early childhood, we're trained to be convenient. Be a good boy. Behave yourself. Don't upset anyone. Each of these messages smooths out our soul like a sculptor chipping away at something wild and living, until only a neat little statue remains, perfectly shaped to fit the world's expectations. And slowly, without even realizing it, we become someone else. Not who we could be, but who others want us to be. You smile when you want to cry. You say yes when every part of you is screaming no. You help others while forgetting to help yourself. Deep down, you know something isn't right. But the fear of rejection is louder. The fear of not being liked, of being difficult, wrong, too much, becomes the invisible chain keeping you in place. And yet, once upon a time, you knew exactly who you were. You could laugh without wondering what people thought. You dreamed without needing permission. You wanted without shame. So what happened? We soaked it all in. Every scolding, every disappointed look, every unspoken expectation. We learned that love must be earned. That it's not given for who we are, but for how well we behave, how much we please, how little space we take up. So we start building ourselves to match what others want, without realizing the price we're paying, our life. But maybe, just maybe, there's a voice rising up inside you right now, a familiar one, saying, you don't have to be good for everyone. This life is yours. You have the right to be yourself, even if someone else doesn't like it. These words can feel terrifying, because being yourself comes with risk. The risk of losing approval. The risk of standing alone in your truth. But remember this. Someone who only loves you when you're convenient doesn't love you. They love their own comfort. You are more than anyone's expectations. You are more important than anyone's opinion. You have the right to your own truth. And right now, you're standing at the edge of change. You don't need to cut everyone off. You don't need to become hard or cold. You just need to take one small step. Start noticing when you trade your truth for someone else's comfort. And ask yourself a quiet, powerful question. Who do I want to be, really? Chapter 2. The price of being nice. What you lose when you forget yourself. Have you ever felt like life is just passing you by? Like you're doing things, keeping busy, trying your best. But deep inside, there's a hollow space. As if you're not really living, just playing a part. As if you've become a substitute for your real self. That's the price. The price you pay for being agreeable, obedient, a good person. And it doesn't always come in the form of tears. Sometimes it's quieter, more deceptive, slower. It shows up when you stop believing in yourself, when you stop dreaming, when you say it's fine, where you really wanted to shout no. Every time you bend, every time you betray your own truth, you lose a piece of your inner wholeness. And that's not just poetic language, it's real. You start to feel blurry inside, uncertain, doubtful. You think it's just a rough patch or burnout, but often it's the result of being disconnected from your true self for far too long. You wanted to be loved, so you became convenient. You wanted to be accepted, so you gave up your values. You didn't want to be judged, so you stopped speaking your truth. But here's the hardest part. You did it all in the name of love. And what did you get? Expectations, responsibilities, and a growing confusion about who you really are. You're afraid that if you start being yourself, people will reject you. But the truth is, they already don't accept you. They accept your mask. So here's the question. How much longer are you willing to pay for someone else's approval? With your dreams, your time, your life? No one's telling you to become cold or distant. This isn't about shutting the world out. It's about coming back to yourself. As Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. He also said, the most terrifying thing is to accept yourself completely. The world will always try to shape you to fit its mold. But you always have a choice, to be a copy or to be alive, to be pleasing or to be real. When you stop being yourself, you don't just lose energy, you lose freedom. You lose the ability to feel a real I want, a real I can, a real I love. And worst of all, you lose the taste for life. Coming back to yourself is a journey. It's not quick. It's not easy. But it's what makes you strong, not on the outside, but where it truly matters. It's the path that gives you back your ability to feel, to choose, and to create a reality that's finally yours. Chapter 3. The Other Side of Freedom. These days, being yourself has become a trend. So trendy, in fact, that its meaning often gets lost. Stop being convenient. You don't owe anyone anything. Do whatever you want. These phrases sound bold, empowering, but there's a sweet poison hidden in them, not a path to freedom, but a fast track to self-destruction. When you're hurting, when you're exhausted from trying to be agreeable, it's tempting to swing in the opposite direction, to reject everything, to shut down, to become someone who lives only for themselves. And then, of course, someone comes along and says, "You're perfect as you are. Just live for yourself. You don't need to change a thing." And maybe you want to hear that, because it's easy, because it offers instant relief. But that's exactly the danger. You don't become free by running away from others. If all you're doing is rejecting the world because it once rejected you, you're still living under its control. You've just changed who's in charge. Real freedom doesn't scream, "I don't listen to anyone." Real freedom is quiet, steady. It means you can listen to others, but you choose your own path. You know who you are. You're not afraid to be yourself, even if it makes someone uncomfortable, but you're also not looking for a fight. You know what unites the rebel and the people pleaser? Both are reacting to the outside world. One obeys, the other protests. But neither is truly free. Being inconvenient doesn't mean being selfish. It doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you know your boundaries. You can say yes with your whole heart and no without guilt. Freedom comes with responsibility, not impulsiveness. It means saying, "I'm not perfect. I will make mistakes. But I'm willing to grow, to be honest, to make choices not because they're easy, but because they're right for me." And if I were to tell you right now, you're already amazing, just live how you want. The world should accept you exactly as you are. You might think, "Wow, what a great author." You'd probably like me, because I'm saying what you want to hear. But the truth is, that wouldn't help you. It would help me sell you a version of myself. And that's the point. We live in the age of content, where flashy packaging often matters more than depth, where it's more profitable to tell people what they want to hear, because it boosts engagement, where someone's expertise is measured in followers, not in wisdom or experience. And, sadly, many creators today care more about popularity than about offering something real, something that could truly shift your life. But here's the truth. There is no easy way. No matter how attractively it's sold to you, the truth is harder. It demands effort. But in that effort, real strength is born. And that kind of strength, earned, not handed to you, pays off in ways shortcuts never can. So, if you're ready to do the work, if you want to live your life not someone else's version of it, then you'll need to let go of the illusion of ease. You'll have to meet yourself, the real you. And that's where everything begins. Chapter 4. Being yourself doesn't mean ignoring everyone else. Sometimes, when you hear the words, "stop being so agreeable," something inside you lights up. You want to tear off every mask, stop bending over backward, stand tall and declare, "From now on, I live only for myself." And that's natural. After years of putting others first, your soul longs to breathe. But here's the truth: no one tells you. Being yourself doesn't mean rejecting the entire world. It's not about isolation, cold detachment, or fiercely guarding your boundaries at the expense of everything else. Being yourself means learning to live in harmony, to honor your needs, while still staying open to connection. When you first realize just how much of your energy has been spent trying to be convenient, there's a strong temptation to swing to the opposite extreme, to become too rigid, too withdrawn, maybe even numb. And many people confuse that reaction with strength, as if shutting down is the same as standing tall. But in truth, it's just another form of fear. The same dependency, just wearing a new mask. Because the inability to hear others is often rooted in fear. Fear of being used again. Fear of not being enough again. Fear of being hurt again. Real strength lies elsewhere. It lies in the ability to say no without burning bridges, to hear someone out without losing yourself, to be kind without being naive. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Gentleness is a strength of man, but strength must not become submission." You can be open, warm, compassionate, and none of that makes you weak. It makes you alive. But let's be clear. Kindness isn't submission. Openness isn't obedience. Respecting others shouldn't come at the cost of betraying yourself. When you begin to build relationships from a new place, a place of self-respect and mutual respect, your life gradually finds balance again. You stop being invisible to yourself. You remain kind, but you're no longer someone others can mold at will. And most importantly, you start forming real, meaningful connections, not based on how convenient you are, not based on how well you fit someone's expectations, but based on your depth, on your truth, the kind of truth that only reveals itself when you truly honor who you are. Because harmony doesn't begin when you reject the world. It begins when you stop rejecting yourself for the sake of the world. Chapter 5. Inner Programming. Who's writing the script of your life? Have you ever stopped to wonder whose voices are actually speaking in your head? When you make decisions, why do you sometimes want one thing, but still do the opposite? Maybe you've always tried to be the easy one, because somewhere along the way, that role became second nature. But who's writing the script of your life? What makes you say yes to things that don't feel true to you? The answer lies in those invisible beliefs, implanted deep within you, maybe from the very first moments you began to understand yourself. These beliefs act like invisible strings, keeping you afloat, yes, but quietly pulling the direction of your life without your awareness. Think back to how you saw yourself as a child. How often were you told, "You should be like this. You must do it this way"? Your parents, your teachers, your friends, every one of them left fingerprints on the person you've become. And what did that lead to? You spent years trying to please everyone around you, ignoring your own desires and emotions. But what's the point of living if you're not following your own inner calling? Isn't it time to look at your life from a new angle? Because when you live by someone else's rules, you stop being you. You become an actor in a script written by someone else, a character performing lines that don't feel like your own. And the scariest part? Over time, you start to lose yourself. Piece by piece, your uniqueness begins to fade as you shape your life around other people's expectations, until one day you realize you don't even know what you want anymore. So how do you find out? It starts with listening, not to the noise of the world, but to your inner voice. It's there, and it never lies. But how do these inner beliefs influence your choices? Let's look at a few examples. Example 1. You want to change careers, but fear stops you. Why? Because as a child, you were told, be stable, stay in one job for life. You crave change, but that old voice whispers, don't risk it, stay in your comfort zone. It's safer there. Example 2. You want more time for yourself, your hobbies, but another voice chimes in, don't be selfish, always help others. So you give your time away to everyone until you're drained, but still smiling. You're being convenient, but you're losing your joy. How do you break free? It starts with awareness. Begin to notice when your actions aren't coming from your true desires, but from the habit of pleasing others. Once you notice, you can choose something different. Every time you make a decision, remind yourself, you're not just fulfilling someone else's expectations. You are the author of your life. Here are 3 simple steps to start rewriting your script. Awareness. Start asking, why am I doing this? What belief is driving this behavior? Honesty. Be real with yourself. What do you actually want? Action. Take steps that reflect what you've realized. Let your choices align with your truth. You can expect resistance. Change is uncomfortable, but only you can write your story. And yes, it takes courage, but the fulfillment it brings, that's the reward you've been looking for. Chapter 6. The Personal Boundaries. Have you ever felt like everyone around you is constantly demanding your attention, your energy, and your time, while you lose sight of yourself? When everything around you seems to want something from you, it's crucial to learn how to protect your personal boundaries. But what are healthy boundaries, and how are they different from selfishness? Healthy boundaries aren't walls you build between yourself and others. Instead, they are lines you draw, showing that you value yourself, your feelings, and your time. It's the ability to understand where your responsibility ends and where someone else's begins. Many confuse personal boundaries with selfishness. They think that setting boundaries means they don't care about others. But that's not true. Healthy boundaries are an act of care for both yourself and others. You show people that your needs and feelings are important, and this gives them the opportunity to care for their own as well. But how do you learn to say no without feeling guilty? Saying no is one of the hardest but most necessary skills. Many of us fear refusal because we worry about hurting someone's feelings. But in reality, saying no is an act of respect for both yourself and the person asking something from you. When you say no, you don't become a bad person. You are simply protecting your boundaries, and that's okay. It's important to understand that you don't have to justify yourself or feel guilty for not meeting someone else's needs at the expense of your own. Otherwise, you begin to lose your energy and peace of mind. It's important to understand, refusal isn't a sign of aggression or disrespect. It's a way to preserve your inner balance while being honest with others. Imagine being asked to do something that doesn't suit you at all, and agreeing only because you don't want to disappoint the person. In the end, you're wasting your energy and time, and no one will benefit from it. When you refuse, you're not rejecting the person's needs. You're simply stating that, at this moment, your own needs are more important. This doesn't make you selfish. On the contrary, it shows that you value both yourself and the other person. Here's an important distinction. Setting boundaries doesn't mean controlling everyone around you. You're not supposed to dictate what others should do. Boundaries are a personal choice that helps maintain harmony in relationships, not to dominate them. Your job is to be honest and open, but not to turn boundary setting into a tool for manipulation. When you start respecting your boundaries, You let others know that their needs matter too. You teach them to respect you and your space. You become more open and authentic, not closed off and aggressive. Setting personal boundaries isn't an act of cruelty, but a manifestation of self-respect. You deserve to be heard, to have your desires and needs acknowledged. And if you don't start protecting your boundaries, sooner or later, you'll feel that you've lost your strength and control. Don't be afraid to say no. It's your freedom. You have the right to do so. You can be a kind and caring person without losing yourself. And this will show respect both to yourself and to those around you. Chapter 7. Your worth is not measured by others' expectations. When you tie your self-worth to the opinions of others, you become a commodity on the shelf. Some approve of you, others reject you. Every look, word, or gesture from them starts defining who you feel you are. But let's be honest, can anyone from the outside know you better than you know yourself? Many of us are accustomed to evaluating our lives through the lens of others' expectations. If you succeed, you're praised. If you fail, you're a disappointment. But success, recognition, and praise are fleeting. Today you're loved, tomorrow you're forgotten. If you build your self-esteem on this unstable foundation, you're doomed to constantly fear losing approval and prove your worth over and over again. True value doesn't change based on how many likes you get or how often you are praised. You are valuable simply because you exist. But how do you build self-esteem on an internal foundation instead of an external one? The first step is to stop waiting for permission to be yourself. Your worth should not depend on whether others like you. Ask yourself, what makes me who I am? Your values, your feelings, your aspirations. Self-esteem built on an internal foundation is the awareness of your uniqueness. It's the acceptance that you don't have to be perfect to deserve love and respect. You have the right to make mistakes. You have the right to your dreams, even if they don't fit into someone else's framework. Every time you feel the urge to seek approval, return to yourself. Remind yourself, I'm not a commodity. I don't need to earn the right to be myself. Imagine a beautiful, expensive item on display. Some customers admire it, others pass it by. But the item itself doesn't become better or worse. Its essence remains unchanged. And so it is with you. Other people's looks, words, and judgments are simply a reflection of their worldview, not your true worth. You were not made to conform to the expectations of everyone around you. You were made to be yourself. When you stop measuring yourself by others' standards, you feel true freedom for the first time. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to conform. Just be honest with yourself. Chapter 8. Stay kind without losing yourself. To be kind doesn't mean to be naive. It doesn't mean letting others walk all over you. True kindness comes from strength, not from fear. It flows from someone who respects themselves and their boundaries, while still keeping their heart open to the world. Openness is the ability to see the best in others, to help, to support. But when you forget yourself for the sake of others, you stop being kind to the most important person, yourself. Inner kindness begins with self-respect. Each time you offer help, ask yourself, am I doing this out of love or out of obligation and fear of rejection? Real kindness doesn't demand self-sacrifice. It is honest, free, and healthy. While staying open to the world, remember, saying no is also an act of love. Love for yourself and for truth. In our society, gentleness and politeness are often mistaken for weakness. But think about it. What's easier? To hurt, to reject, to destroy, or to forgive, to understand, and to support? True kindness takes great inner strength. It requires patience, clarity, and courage. The courage to stay true to yourself even when the world teaches you to be tough and indifferent. Being kind means showing compassion without losing yourself in others. It means seeing someone else's pain, but not letting that pain consume you. Being yourself doesn't mean building a wall around your heart to avoid being hurt. It means staying open, staying true to who you are and to your emotions. To love the world without betraying yourself. To help others without giving up your own boundaries. To be kind without needing gratitude in return. Kindness rooted in strength gives you wings. It allows you to be who you truly are without collapsing under the pressure of the world. Being yourself means you don't have to choose between kindness and strength. Being yourself means being both, kind and strong.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a like if this video resonated with you. Thank you for being with us and for listening till the end. There's so much more here that we hope will inspire and motivate you. With gratitude, until next time.